أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ثم الصلاة والسلام على سيد الخلائق أجمعين، حبيبنا وقائد مسيرتنا المصطفى الأمين أبي القاسم محمد، وعلى آل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين الغر الميامين، لا سيما بقية الله في الأراضين، مهدي هذه الأمة وخاتم الأئمة وطاووس أهل الجنة الحجة بن الحسن العسكري، روحي وأرواح العالمين لتراب مقدم الفداء. قال الله العظيم في محكم كتابه الكريم: أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. وكذلك أعثرنا عليهم ليعلموا أن وعد الله حق وأن الساعة لا ريب فيها إذ يتنازعون بينهم أمرهم فقالوا ابنوا عليهم بنيانا ربهم أعلم بهم قال الذين غلبوا على أمرهم لنتخذن عليهم مسجدا. آمنا بالله. صدق الله العلي العظيم. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. One of the things that we need to know in regard of the 8th of Shawwal and what happened and what caused the Wahhabis to do their heinous acts is to know the history and the idea behind it. There is, of course, the final destruction that happened more than 100 years ago, which is 101 years ago, I think, because it happened in 1925. This was after the Al Saud, with the help of the British, when they won the First World War, they fought against the Turks, some of them, and fought against different kingdom and emirates and Arab Peninsula. Arab Peninsula was divided into parts, and what they even say today, and they have their national day, unification of the kingdom, that they call it, unification of the kingdom, which was Hijaz and Bahrain, which was the eastern part of Arab Peninsula, and Najd and the north. So there was parts, all small parts, that they used the British intelligence services and their funding with the help of the fanatic Wahhabis. So Wahhabis here were just a tool for them to use and for the idea to be implemented at that day and age. The reason behind it, of course, they say was purely religious, and still to the day it is religious. There is some truth to that as well. There is here and there a few narration, authentic or not authentic, we can debate that, but within their book of hadith, which started with, if you know, you know, that a lot of the so-called Wahhabis today believe that the Kaaba in its form today is built by mushrikeen, right? So the Kaaba itself with its form today is built by the mushrikeen. And this hadith was narrated by who? By Abdullah ibn Zubayr. Abdullah ibn Zubayr, this foul, wicked man, who was the reason behind his father to go astray. He declared himself a Khalifa in Hijaz, and in part of even Khurasan they pledged loyalty to him, and part of Iraq they pledged loyalty to him as well. So Yazid ibn Muawiyah alayhi la'anullah, he sent troops after they desecrated Medina and killed more than 30,000 people, hundreds of Sahabis, and the reciters of Quran and the people who memorize Quran. So after they pillaged the city of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they moved to go to Mecca. They surrounded Mecca. They catapulted the Kaaba. Part of the Kaaba was destroyed. Part of it was burned. But they retreated because, again, Kaaba, if any one of you went to Mecca, it's harsh terrain. It's very hard to find people who own the city. And they said, there was some narration, they heard the death of Yazid, and they had this internal fight as well, so they retreated. So Abdullah ibn Zubayr, what he did, he said that I heard my auntie Aisha. Aisha was, bint Abi Bakr, was his aunt. And him and Ubaydullah ibn Zubayr narrated a lot of hadith, which again, for us, it's we have a lot of doubt in this regard. It fits their narrative a lot of times. Like Abdullah ibn Zubayr himself. Abdullah ibn Zubayr was a Nasibi. Simple. I had like a little bit of doubt saying this, but no. He declared animosity towards Ahlul Bayt, even to the extent that in his salat, even the Wahhabi don't do this. Even the Nasibi don't do this. He stopped doing salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad, salawat ala Nabi, salawat on Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And when they asked him the reason behind his act and why he is doing so, he said that إِنَّ لَدَيْهِ أُهَيْلَ سُوءٍ إِشْرَأَبَّتْ أَعْنَاقُهُمْ عِنْدَمَا يَتُمُّ ذِكْرُهُ, that he has a bad relative, bad family, al-'ayadhu billah. Like when his name is mentioned, the name of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wasallam, they will stand proud because of the name of their ancestor and their grandfather Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wasallam. Imagine. So this person, we don't take any hadith and anything from this person. But this hadith, I will repeat this hadith in regard of what he said. He said that the Prophet ﷺ told Aisha, لولا يا عائشة لولا أن قومك حديث عهد بشرك لهدمت الكعبة. That he said, Rasulullah ﷺ said, you were like very close by, date-wise. You were mushriks. حديث عهد بشرك. We were mushrik like in a few years back. So if it wasn't for this, I would have destroyed the Kaaba, demolished the Kaaba. بشرك لهدمت الكعبة فألزقتها بالأرض, and we leveled it with the ground. وجعلت لها بابين, بابا شرقيا وبابا غربيا. Even to this day, some they argue, they say this authentic hadith, and it is actually by their standard, right? And they say this Kaaba is not holy. The Kaaba itself not holy because the mushrik designed it and the mushrik built it and it still stand like this. So that's the hadith says that, and would put door for the Kaaba. How many doors the Kaaba has? Just one. It says I will put two doors, one in the east and one in the west for the Kaaba. وزدت فيها ستة أذرع, and extend it من الحجر فإن قريشا اختصرتها حيث بنت الكعبة. That I will extend, I will make it bigger. So what Abdullah ibn Zubayr did, he first of all, he didn't immediately rebuild the Kaaba. If it's something holy to you, like one of the things that's mandatory for any Muslim to do, if the Quran wal-'iyadhu billah becomes najis, like something touches the Quran, that it's najis, every Muslim has an obligation to immediately cleanse it. That's the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's the Kaaba that Muslim pray toward. So he said he delayed it, so it is Hajj time. And the Muslim comes and see the Kaaba has been demolished. And then he can make them what? Pledge their allegiance to him and tell them, see what the Bani Umayyah did. And he did just that after when Hajjaj came and beheaded Abdullah ibn Zubayr. They closed the door and took it back to the original form that it was. In regard of, again, the second Khalifa, Umar, he was doing the Hajj. And this is, of course, the hadith is, the first hadith is in Sahih Muslim. And تخريج أخرجه البخاري. Bukhari again authenticated this hadith. And it's in number 1333. The hadith says رأيت الأصلع يعني عمر بن الخطاب يقبل الحجر ويقول والله إني لأقبلك وإني أعلم أنك حجر وأنك لا تضر ولا تنفع. That Umar, he was doing tawaf and he kissed the Hajar al-Aswad, the black rock or the corner of the Kaaba, and he says, I kissed you knowing that you don't benefit me in and you don't do any harm to me as well. لا تضر ولا تنفع. ولولا أني رأيت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم وآله وسلم قبلك ما قبلتك. If it wasn't I saw Rasulullah kiss you, I would not have kissed you. So again, this riwayah is in Sahih Muslim 1270. So behind this, there is an idea that anything in regard of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is, again, not very whole. And but they have a dilemma again with this, because there are authentic hadith says otherwise. Says otherwise. Like, first of all, there's a hadith they say that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, don't visit the graves. I forbid you before. I forbid you in the past to visit the graves. Now I command you to visit the graves. What happened? Did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reveal something different? فَإِنَّا تُذَكِّرُكُمْ بِالْآخِرَةِ. We don't believe in this hadith because it says that what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that will stay. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, visit the graves, and it's an authentic hadith. So they put another thing. They said that Rasulullah cursed any woman who visit the graves. لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. That on one side, you say Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam visit the graves. He didn't say the man, just you visit the grave. Then he says that for the woman, he cursed any woman to visit the graves. Anyway, same thing in regard of Quran, same thing in regard of Ahkam al-Salat, everything else. Our dilemma here is Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, of course, when he came to Medina and established his government, he located a place, he appointed a place for the mu'mins to be buried in. The Jews had their cemetery, the Muslims didn't have their cemetery, and the first one to be buried in that place called Baqi al-Gharqad. Gharqad is a type of plant, right? Gharqad means it's a type of plant that grows in the harsh environment of the desert. So Baqi said that first Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam located that place and allocated that for the Muslim to be buried in, and the first one who was buried there was a companion of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and Shi'atu Amir al-Mu'minin Ali ibn Abi Talib salawatullahi wa sallam alayhi, Uthman ibn Mad'un ridwanullahi ta'ala alayhi. He passed away in Medina. He wasn't killed or martyred. He passed away and he was buried in Baqi'. And after Ahl al-Bayt salawatullahi wa salamu alayhim ajma'in, including Amir al-Mu'mineen, including his brother Aqil, they start buying properties and places in Baqi' and expanding the Baqi'. Amir al-Mu'mineen had a house in Baqi'. Don't think that it was, the whole place was like this. When we are seeing it, it's the whole place is a cemetery. No, it wasn't like this before. It was houses there, including that house of Aqil, which Abbas ibn Abdul Muttalib was buried in the house of Aqil ibn Abi Talib, salawat radwanullahi ta'ala alayhi. So here, the Wahhabi come and said that, of course, it wasn't their first time. The 1925 was their second time of destroying the Baqi'. But hold on, if that's a religious thing, and if you are truly following the Sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, you didn't do that, of course, but there is the Masjid of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Plus, who is buried next to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam? Plus, have you seen inside the shrine of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam? Again, was that place a masjid, or the Rasulullah had wasiyyah to be buried in a masjid? So you don't visit the Rasulullah, you visit Masjid Rasulullah. No, we visit Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And why there is a dome above the grave of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam? So how come you destroyed Baqi' and you didn't destroy this and didn't level it like what you say? That you say in a hadith that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam ordered Ali ibn Abi Talib to level any graves, right? And forbid anyone to write any writing on the graves. But hold on again. Look inside the shrine now. So what's the purpose? So now we know, okay, these guys are not even religious people. And they say that's shirk, but they pay people to come and sing songs in the land of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, doing shirk at that songs. What's happening? It's simple. During the World War II, the Germans, when they committed the Holocaust, one of their things was to destroy any Jewish cemetery, and taking that whatever was on that cemetery and putting it in their buildings and the building materials. Were they doing it because a religious purpose and religious reasons? No. And then came in Balkans war in 1990s, if you remember, right? Some of you probably do. In the 1990s, what they did is start destroying Muslim cemeteries. Why? To the extent that the Commission of Religious Freedom, the American Commission of Religious Freedom, I got this, I copy paste that from their website. It says that the Yugoslav War of the 1990s saw a systematic destruction of religious and cultural sites, leading the United Nations International Criminal Tribunal for the former Yugoslavia to rule that the targets erasing of such sites can amount to crime against humanity. Crime against humanity. Destruction, severing the connection between the living and the dead. And that's what they are, of course, doing in Gaza as well. There was a report of by CNN, right, who said that they are destroying the cemeteries in Gaza. For what purpose? Not just this, they saying they are taking out bodies and relocating or taking them altogether from that, from the graves of the cemeteries in Gaza. So what's the purpose behind it? It's a settler colonial idea. So when you come to the land and you have a problem with a group of people, you want to eradicate everything that this people has a connection with that land. Eradicate everything. So in the future, they don't come and claim that this land was theirs. And besides, these people have a problem with Al Muhammad sallallahu wa sallam alayhi ajma'in. Sallallahu Muhammad wa They don't have a problem with Bukhari's shrine. They don't have a problem with Abdul Qadir al-Gilani shrines. They don't have a problem with Abu Hanif al-Nu'man shrine. They don't have a problem with Shafi'i shrine. They don't have a problem with Ahmad ibn Hanbal place, masjid on the top of that. I think Masjid al-Agha, if the people of Baghdad know about that, right? It's they constructed a masjid. لَنَتَّخِذَنَّ عَلَيْهِمْ مَسْجِدًا. What Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran in regard of the people of the cave, that after everyone knew what happened to them and the miracle that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had with the people of the cave, they came. So were there two groups. One group, the muwahhidins, the monotheists. One group. And the other who still had doubts, or mushrikeen. So one group says that we will do what? That إِذْ يَتَنَازَعُونَ بَيْنَهُم. Right? They had debate between them and saying بَيْنَهُم أَمْرٌ فَقَالُوا أُبْنُوا عَلَيْهِمْ بُنْيَانًا رَبُّهُمْ أَعْلَمُ بِهِمْ. Allahu Akbar. Same thing, same logic that the Wahhabi use. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows about them. Construct something on top of them, or what they said, they wanted to hide everything that resembled this miracle of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But the mu'mineen, what they said, لَنَتَّخِذَنَّ عَلَيْهِمْ مَسْجِدًا. Why masjid? One is construction, one is masjid. Masjid is a place of ibadah, place of worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When you go to the Karbala of shrine of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein, shrine of Abu Abbas, what do you see people do? Reciting Quran. What do you see people do? Do salats. Like, you cannot come to the haram without doing at least those two. You're praying to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Do they pray to Imam Hussein sallallahu alayhi wa sallam? No. Simple as that. So these places became places of worship. And what happened in 2006 in Samarra, after all these years, Samarra is a Sunni majority city, of course, right? And after they lost control of the country, they wanted to seek revenge on the shrine of Imam salawatullahi wa sallam alayhi. To do what? To insult the mu'mineen. Of course, we don't do what they did, and we don't invite people to destroy even the grave of Ibn Taymiyyah. You know, if you look into history and look in the opinion of the people who have these extreme ideas and fanatics, I'll couple, right? Most of them lived in the last 100 years. Most of them, right? Ibn Uthaymeen, Bin Baz, right? I saw the names of the people with this opinion. There are a few, like they're a handful. Even Ibn Taymiyyah, al-Harrani, his grave is in Maqbarat al-Sufiyya, the cemetery of the Sufis in Damascus, as I recall. And up until recently, it had a building, like it had a construction upon its grave. And they became upset when the regime of Bashar al-Assad destroyed that. They destroyed it because of his opinion and because of his fatwa. Right? So honoring him actually is destroying. But that made them upset. Even the Saudi government, they started what? Screaming and saying that you desecrated the grave of Ibn Taymiyyah. They desecrated nothing, according to your opinion. And again, حرمة المؤمن أعظم من الكعبة. المؤمن أعظم حرمة من الكعبة. The mu'min sanctity is greater than the Kaaba itself. And destroying, and anyone, like any human being, believe that desecrating a grave is insulting that person. In Iran, different, of course, rulers came and left. There was a king who hated to be named king, and the people loved him. He was named Karim Khan Zend. His capital was in Shiraz. Iran capital was in Shiraz. He had a general who he waited until Karim Khan died and took the power in his hand. Karim Khan, he again hated to be called king. Was called. He said, "Call me Mu'inur Ra'aya," which is the aid of the people. After that person was named Agha Muhammad Khan Qajar, so he was established the Qajari dynasty. This person, what he did, he dug up the bones of Karim Khan Zend and took it with him to the now capital, Tehran, and put it under his stairs. So every time everyone comes to his palace, or him coming down from his palace, they go over the bones of Karim Khan Zend. So this is a sign of what? A disrespect. And these people, they disrespect Ali Muhammad salawatullahi wa salam alayhim ajma'in altogether. Sallallahu And the Muslim and the majority of the Muslim, and again, the majority of the Muslim against this evil act of the Wahhabis. And rebuilding the Baqi', it will unify the Muslims. It will make us closer to our brothers and sisters in Islam. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us as a tool of rebuilding Baqi' al-Gharqad. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will do this in our lifetime, inshallah. إنه لي التوفيق. صلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى الطيبين الطاهرين.